Committed to the idea that while most things in life run out, from clean shirts in the morning to a favorite dessert at night, lifetime income in retirement shouldn't. Learn more at TIAA.org/neverrunout.
This is All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Ari Shapiro.
And I'm Elsa Chang. The number of cases of coronavirus in the U.S. is going up every day. And another number has shot up as well, the number of people who have lost their jobs. More than 3 million people filed for unemployment last week alone. The Senate passed a record-breaking economic relief package last night worth roughly $2 trillion, and House leadership says they will vote on the package tomorrow. The bill is expected to pass, and joining us now to talk about the legislation is Republican Congressman Gary Palmer of Alabama. He's the Republican Policy Committee Chairman. Welcome.
Glad to be on with you.
So how do you plan to vote on this relief package?
I'll vote for it.
All right. So for any of your colleagues who are still on the fence, what would your message be to them?
Well, there's never such a thing as a perfect bill, but we're facing a crisis unlike anything we've ever seen before. You just mentioned in the lead-in that there were 3 million people who filed for unemployment, and we've got to address that. And I think, as much as I hate to do it with an appropriations bill this large, I think it's something that we've got to do.
Well, as you say, no bill is perfect, but looking at the specifics of this particular legislation, what do you think it does get right?
Well, I think it helps small businesses keep their doors open, figuratively at least, in the sense that it will allow them to retain their workforce. And that's the biggest part of this. It also helps them pay their rent and utilities and other operating expenses. It's also going to help the bigger companies keep their businesses going and keep more people on the payroll.
What about any concerns that you might have about the bill as it exists now?
I don't want to come across as partisan, but I don't understand why we had to put funding in for things that are totally unrelated to dealing with this crisis, and particularly when there's such a desperate need in some of the municipalities, particularly the smaller municipalities, and with the healthcare.
What do you think of as unrelated that is in this bill?
Well, like the $25 million for funding for the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. We could have had that discussion at a different time. It's things like that. But one of the main things that is driving this is the concern of how this is going to impact our hospitals, whether or not they'll be overwhelmed. We're going to have to figure out ways to provide bed space, and there's talk about converting hotels or hotels that right
Convention
now...
centers.
Yeah,
are you suggesting that you don't think this bill provides enough for hospitals and that a further relief package may be needed down the road?
I don't know that yet. I'm hoping that as the weather warms up and hopefully as some of these therapeutic drugs come into play, that there's going to be less of a need for hospitalization. And I think the extreme measures that a lot of places are taking for social isolation and separation, that sort of thing, can bring that curve down. I think we can avoid what's happened in Italy.
Let me ask you, because unemployment numbers came out today, this package does expand unemployment insurance to many people who didn't get it before. It also increases unemployment benefits. It makes these benefits last for a longer period of time. Do you think it goes far enough?
Well, again, I think we need to get through the next 2 or 3 months to determine that. And the people who were laid off, the companies who laid them off, would not be eligible for some of these loans. So they may have to reconsider and bring those folks back on so that they're eligible for the loans. But I think we've got to give it at least a couple of months. I don't
You think Congress should wait at least 2 to 3 months before they consider another relief package?
I think we need to see how things turn out before we go any farther off that fiscal cliff that we're already diving off of.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, you are a former member of the House Freedom Caucus, a caucus that's known to be fiscal conservatives, a caucus that does not like deficit spending. How much of that figures into whether you would support not only this particular package, but also future packages, future relief packages? Does it weigh heavily?
I've already said that I'm going to support this package. I'm going to put the people interest ahead of all these other interests, but I do think that we've got to try to find a balance here and we don't put ourselves in such
Venezuelan military to flood the United States with cocaine, using the drug trade as a weapon against the U.S. Attorney General William Barr says Maduro has effectively converted Venezuela into a criminal enterprise.
In the already stressed city hospital system, Elmhurst Hospital records 13 coronavirus deaths in a 24-hour period. President Trump says federal officials are developing guidelines to rate counties by risk of virus spread as he aims to begin easing national guidelines. Governor Murphy gets the disaster declaration he was looking for from the feds as New Jersey reports more than 6,800 cases. Veteran actor Michael Blum, who is currently starring in Succession and starred on The West Wing, along with Madonna in Desperately Seeking Susan, dies of coronavirus at 69. 10 winds AccuWeather says becoming cloudy late tonight with some rain. Damp tomorrow morning with sun by afternoon, high 63.
This is Andrew O'Day at Bloomberg. Wall Street jumped today as prospects rose for passage of the $2 trillion stimulus bill. Dow up 1,352, NASDAQ up 413.
Winds News Time 441. Time for traffic and here's Greg Rice.
Well, Lori, we go to Brooklyn. We got issues on the eastbound side of the BQE. We've got the earlier car fire now out of the way, but behind it is an absolute mess right now. The eastbound BQE, all sorts of slow right now from Industry City up to the Brooklyn Bridge. This should start to dissipate now that the earlier accident is out of the way. Northbound Van Wyck has already gotten better, getting up towards the area of the Long Island Expressway. Some Wazers tell us of a crash on the northbound Turnpike truck lanes, getting up towards Interchange 13, just past the Gothel Bridge. So to stay with the northbound car lanes while we look into that. Here's what you need to know about bridges and tunnels. Inbound George, it's a good go to the upper and lower. There's no bad way out. The Brooklyn bound Brooklyn Bridge, that is still a bit slow, but it's starting to get better. Everything else in good shape. On the East River, alternate signs suspended in the city through at least next Tuesday. You won't have to move the car in the 5 boroughs until April. BW and Z subways remain parked in the R. There are troubles with the N trains right now, which should get better, but the ACL, the G, the J, and the M, they had hoped to run normal service. There just aren't enough train operators to go around right now. That's also why there are no Express 6s and 7s. Those all remain local, and the 2 and 5 trains with multiple issues for Brooklyn and Manhattan. I'm Greg Rice. Our next report at 4:51 on 1010 Winds.
Winds News Time 4:43. New York statewide now has more than 37,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19, with the death toll jumping by 100 overnight to 385. And as hospitals try to deal with the growing crush of patients and the need for medical equipment like face masks and ventilators, Governor Cuomo says the state is trying to ramp up facilities to care for patients.
Governor Cuomo is looking to set up more medical units in each of the 5 boroughs to care for coronavirus patients.
So every county has a 1,000 plus bed overflow facility.
And that includes Nassau, Suffolk, Westchester, and Rockland for 1,000 each. But the governor also discussed economic concerns, the $10 to $15 billion hole in the state budget that's due April 1st. He says the federal stimulus package addresses none of that.
I'm disappointed. I said I was disappointed. I find it irresponsible. I find it reckless.
He says the Washington money goes toward COVID-19 treatment. Juliette Papa, 1010 Winds News.
4:44. And joining us live now on the line at 1010 Winds is New York City Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigra. Commissioner, thank you for joining us this afternoon. We know you are slammed and very busy.
Oh, we're quite busy, that's for sure.
Commissioner, we understand that the department got 5,800 calls yesterday compared with 4,000 the day before. I understand you have a message you want to get out to New Yorkers about when they should and shouldn't be calling 911.
Sure, the calls are accelerating, ratcheting up each day, and we'd like to remind the public that always 911 should be reserved for emergencies, but now during this pandemic, it's especially important because our people are really overworked. You need to get to your neighbors and friends and yourselves when you're really in need. So please use 911 only for something very serious. Thank you.
And how are the EMS workers, the FDNY members, holding up? You guys are on the front lines of this pandemic.
They are definitely I guess you could call them the tip of the spear for this. They're the medical care providers that are there first. Our EMTs and paramedics are doing such unimaginable work right now, and joined by our firefighters. Just the sheer numbers, just the number of people who are suffering from this and need to be transported to emergency rooms. They are a dedicated workforce, and despite the fact that others have the luxury, really, I use that word, of quarantining themselves and staying home, our folks don't. They're out there exposing themselves, exposing their families when they come home. They are very brave, hardworking people.
Live with us right now is New York City Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigro. Commissioner, do you have the numbers for your department? How many members have tested positive for COVID-19? How many have been out?
Sure. As of 10 a.m. today, we had approximately 170 people who have tested positive, and that's a sharp increase from the day before. And I have no reason to believe that number will not continue to rise as the numbers rise for all New Yorkers.
And how is this affecting operations? Will you have to change shifts in any way, reschedule the schedule for workers in the FDNY?
Yeah, we've adjusted some schedules. Our staffing is still strong.
Saturday to follow, the PNC Bank Arts Center site will be dedicated only to symptomatic healthcare workers and first responders, by the way, with valid credentials only. So let me just step back and make sure everybody got that. This Saturday, the 28th, both Bergen Community College and PNC Bank Arts Center, only symptomatic healthcare workers and first responders. Then beginning next Saturday, April 4th, on every Saturday, PNC Bank Arts Center only will be dedicated to symptomatic healthcare workers and first responders. For the days both in between those Saturdays and after April 4th.
And next week, Joel Rose will be answering your questions on the impact of the COVID-19 crisis on immigration. If you have a story or a question, go to npr.org/national conversation or ask us on social media using the hashtag NPRconversation.
This is NPR News.
And you're listening to WNYC in New York. Coming up next, we turn to New Jersey, where the death toll from the coronavirus has nearly doubled in the past 2 days. President Donald Trump signed a declaration naming New Jersey a disaster area, eligible for additional funding. Coming up next, WNYC's Karen Yee will bring us a look ahead to how hospitals are preparing for the coming surge of COVID-19 patients. That story is just ahead. Stay tuned. As the coronavirus spreads and disrupts life for Americans, one particular group is facing a secondary threat.
Having people not trust you, having people look at you as a disease carrier, I think that's on a lot of people's minds in the Asian American community.
The coronavirus and racism on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Weekly mornings on WNYC.
WNYC is supported by 13. Every year, the MTA holds auditions to select a diverse group of performers. NYC Arts follows these performers to see the subway through their eyes. Music Under New York airs tonight at 8 on 13.
Tonight, we can expect rain mostly overnight. We'll have a low around 46 degrees.
All streaming 24/7.
Weather we enjoyed today. Now it is cooling down right along the coastline. It's in the upper.
You're listening to All Things Considered on WNYC. I'm Jamie Floyd.
New Jersey has experienced the biggest one-day increase in COVID-19 cases since officials began tracking the outbreak in the state earlier this month. Speaking this afternoon, Governor Murphy says the state now has 6,876 cases, the second highest number in the country after New York. 81 people have died, 19 more over the last 24 hours. And like New York, New Jersey hospitals say they are in dire need of equipment. Some hospitals are pleading for it on social media. Healthcare workers on the front lines say they've never seen anything like this before. WNYC's Karen Yee has been reporting on how the crisis is unfolding in New Jersey. She joins us now from her home. I'm also in my home studio. We're both broadcasting remotely for WNYC. Hello, Karen.
Hi, Jamie.
So you've been speaking with doctors and nurses this week. What are they telling you?
Things have changed dramatically and quickly here in the state. Remember, the first case in New Jersey wasn't until March 4th.
Right.
The doctors and nurses are telling me this sort of came in phases. First, you had the worried well, people with mild symptoms lining up. They were quickly sent home to quarantine. Now people are coming in who need hospitalization and intensive care, or patients who came before and were stable and now need ventilators.
And you've been speaking specifically with doctors and nurses, right?
Yes, so Adam Jarrett works at Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck in Bergen County, which is really at the center of this crisis. He likened this to a tidal wave.
Within 2 or 3 days of the start of this, it became one big giant tidal wave that has not let up.
I've heard a lot of descriptions like that from nurses and doctors. Tidal wave, somebody calls it a sudden disruptive force, unprecedented, like it's a natural disaster.
How have hospitals and healthcare workers adapted to such a thing, to how quickly things are changing on the front lines?
So one of the big changes was when people knew that community spread was here. It wasn't just that people were getting COVID-19 from somebody with a known exposure. It was now people-to-people spread. So that immediately changed protocols, because now anybody could be a potential COVID patient, anybody walking through those doors. So doctors are now running low on some supplies. They're having to make tough calls on how to reuse PPE. That's something you've probably heard a lot about. That's personal protective equipment. We're talking about N95 masks, gowns, etc. So one nurse told me that she's putting her N95 mask in a paper bag and with her name on it, and she's asked to use it until it's soiled. That's not the best situation. You want to switch it out after every patient, but that's become a luxury. So hospitals are really they're running low on supplies. They have a few days supplies. They're able to get some here and there, or really rely on donations, and that's how they're operating these days.
Karen, this is truly amazing what you're describing. This must also change the interactions between the doctors and their patients too, right?
That's right, and it's really sad for some people. Here's how Dr. Chris Freer from St. Barnabas put it.
I mean, you have a 95-year-old patient that has no family because they can't come in. They have COVID and they're ill. Usually the nurses and doctors want to give you a compassion, and that means touching the patient and sitting next to the patient. You can't do those things.
As the doctor put it, hospitals look entirely different. Everyone is in masks. No visitors are allowed, which is a dramatic change from before.
Right. Crushingly sad and deeply compelling what you're reporting. The state health commissioner, Julie Persicelli, says the hardest hit counties, Bergen, Essex, and Hudson, are still waiting to see the peak. They could still see a surge of patients in about 3 weeks, and that would mirror the expected peak in New York. So, Karen, how are hospitals preparing for that? Is there any plan in place to help get